Please stand by. We're going to get started. Thank you. Stand by, please. Jazz, go ahead.
Recording.
We are excited to be here today, and we welcome the media to this virtual press conference. Today, we are thrilled to be hearing from world champion bodybuilder, Hollywood action hero, successful businessman, environmentalist, philanthropist, best-selling author, and California's 38th governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, along with world-famous YouTuber, host of Impulsive Podcast, and professional boxer Logan Paul, and Fanmio founder and CEO Solomon Engel. They will be discussing the 34th annual Arnold Sports Festival, which takes place this weekend, beginning Thursday, March 3rd through Sunday, March 6th, from the Greater Columbus Convention Center in Columbus, Ohio. The event, founded by Schwarzenegger and Jim Lorimer in 1989, has grown to now feature over 18,000 athletes.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Nations competing in 60 sports and events while attracting 100,000 unique attendees over 3 days and generating 50 million in estimated visitor spending, making it one of the largest multi-sport festivals in the world. Fanmio will provide extensive weekend-long coverage of this year's festival, which will be streamed live for the first time ever to a pay-per-view audience worldwide. They will also help present the very exciting first ever Slap Fighting Championship event on Saturday, March 5th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time at the Arnold Sports Festival. Make sure to go to fanmio.com for the info on how to watch all the action live. If you want to be there in person, you can purchase tickets to the Arnold Sports Festival by visiting arnoldsportsfestival.tix123.com. Now we will turn things over to our star-studded lineup of speakers to tell you all about what fans can expect this weekend. First man, he needs no introduction. A world champion bodybuilder, Hollywood action hero, successful businessman, environmentalist, philanthropist, best-selling author, and California's 38th governor, Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, thank you very much, Jazz, for your nice introduction and for your great work. I just want to say hello to everybody and thank you all for joining us for this kind of press conference, virtual press conference. I just want to add to what you said that we have now our Arnold's Classic for 30. This is the 34th Arnold Classic. That we actually started our competitions in Columbus, Ohio in 1976. Except at that time, they were not called Arnold's Classic, they were called Mr. Olympia. Then the following year, Mr. Universe, then Mr. World, and Miss Olympia. And we had throughout, from 1976 on, we always had world championship competitions in Columbus. And then eventually we started with the Arnold Classic, because we felt that the Mr. Olympia and Mr. Universe title should be traveling around the world and not just be locked up in Columbus. And so we then decided to create the Arnold Classic. And that we have now done. This is now the 34th Arnold Classic Championship, World Championship in bodybuilding. What is interesting about it is that the sport took off in the 70s and 80s to such an extent that we eventually had so many sports getting in touch with us if they could also come to the Columbus competition and be part of it. Weightlifting, powerlifting, arm wrestling, and so on. And then eventually that developed into the International Arnold Classic Sports and Fitness Festival. So that it was not just bodybuilding and strongman acts and stuff like that and powerlifting, but it was all kinds of athletics. And we are talking now about this year we will have around 18,000 athletes participating from around 60 nations, and there will be over 100,000 attendees over the 3 days that will come in. And as you said already, there's $50 million estimated spending in the local economy. So I think it's just really terrific. And I want to say on top of that, that I want to say thank you to all of the people that have really made this possible again under the severe circumstances of the COVID for the last 2 years. Because the last two times the Arnold Classic was just a much more limited competition. We couldn't have the whole sports and fitness festival we only could have the bodybuilding championships and the powerlifting championships and so on. But I want to say thank you to Brian Powers, who has basically been the leader since the last year of the Arnold Classic, or the last 2 years, I should say. I want to say thank you to the convention center, to the sponsors, to the hotels, the athletes, the medical community, the law enforcement. I want to say thank you also to Logan Paul for as being the new partner, especially at the slap competition. And so there's so many more people that we want to thank. I also want to say thank you to Jim Lorimer and to Gene Lorimer for having been there for all these years since 1976, having been my partners. And I want to thank the entire Lorimer family for consistently always working with us and working together on this to make this successful. As I always said, that there's nothing that we do by ourselves. You know, there's no such thing as a self-made man. All of these successes, and we have had huge successes with the Arnold Classic Sports and Fitness Festival. It is by far the largest international kind of sports and fitness festival there is in the world. And, you know, none of this happens just because my name is on it and this is Arnold's Classic. It's not me alone. It is thousands of people that work on this, and they work throughout the year to put this together. That's why I wanted to mention Brian Powers, and I also wanted to mention Logan Paul, because there's a people, without them, I couldn't do that. Everyone brings something to the table, and especially the athletes. Without the athletes, we wouldn't have the spectators. Without the spectators, we wouldn't have the sponsors and so on. So we need all of this. This is a really great, great team. And I think that what makes us unique is that we are really an event that doesn't really highlight any particular sport, but we basically just say, no matter what you do, it is good for your body, it's good for your health. We want to use this, all of these different sports, to inspire young and old, male and female, everybody to train every day, to go out and exercise every day. It's a form of inspiration, it's a form of entertainment, it's promoting sports, and this is what this is all about. We are not just in North America, but we are also in South America, we're in Africa and Australia and Europe. So we are pretty much all over the world having this, Arnold's Sports and Fitness Festivals. I think that we have also some really, kind of great sports, like for instance, the World's Strongest Man competition, besides having, the Arnold Classic Bodybuilding Championships and the Classic Physique and all of this, the women's competition, fitness competition and all this. So there will be, like, from every angle, we will be kind of like celebrating the different bodies. And we have, of course, online here with us some great champions. We have Gwilliam Bonak, who is the Arnold Classic champion from 2018, 2020. He's online. And then Brandon Curry, the Arnold Classic, champion from 2019. He was then, after they won the Olympia competition in 2019. So there's a great champions that are on there. If anyone has any questions at them, I'm sure they're gonna make their own statements. We're also happy that we have, that the powerlifters, they're the weightlifters, women, men, and martial arts, and we have arm wrestling championships. We have jump rope and then the pump and run, which is one of my favorite competitions, where you have to show strength and also endurance. And we are the only sports festival where we have something like that, and unique combination like that. And then we have some really art sports, like for instance the slap competition, or for instance the cheerleading competition, or the axe throwing competition, or the medieval fighting competition, where they literally have their armor on, just like in the medieval days, and with swords, with broadswords, and slugging away and pounding away. So we have all kinds of crazy stuff that people say, why do you have this? But we don't judge anything. We just love to have all of these different sports come together and to celebrate for 3 days sports and fitness and health and power and all of this stuff. And so I just thank the world of this competition. It's a passion of mine. When I stopped competing in 1975 in South Africa, when I won the Mr. Olympia contest the 6th time, I remember I went to Jim Lorimer and I said, Jim, I want to be your partner. We have to have a partnership. We got to go and run the world championships out of Columbus. You have promoted the greatest championships in the world, which was in 1970 when I won the Mr. World competition in Columbus. that's how far our friendship goes back. And he and I became partners then. And I remember they had the World Championships in weightlifting in Columbus, Ohio, where this Russian guy, Alexeyev, won and was the first human being to ever lift over 500 pounds in the clean and jerk. And then right after that was the bodybuilding competition, Mr. World competition that I won. And I was so impressed with the Jim Romer's organization that I said, we got to become partners. So here we are all these years later. I mean, we're talking about now 1970 and 2022. So we're talking about 52 years later. Here we are still in Columbus, Ohio. Can you imagine? I mean, and we are, still promoting the competitions, and it's growing and growing and growing. And I think the bottom line is that this year we are back because the coronavirus now has been reduced down to such an extent that we can come again and all get together and compete and watch and judge and celebrate health and fitness. So with that, I leave it to the next speaker. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Schwarzenegger. And now, world-famous YouTuber and social media personality with over 100 million followers across various platforms, host of the Impulsive Podcast, a professional boxer, and big slap fighting fan, Logan Paul.
Hey, just here to echo everything Arnold said. Thank you to everyone who's here. Thank you to everyone who's making this event possible. This is honestly a dream come true for me. I mean, Arnold talks about the spine of the Arnold Classic being that of inspiration and motivation. And you're looking at someone who has manifested that and was inspired by Arnold at the Arnold Classic over a decade ago, probably about 13 years ago. My papa took me to the Arnold Classic in Ohio, where I'm from. And I got to be within 3 feet of Arnold as he walked through the crowd. And I was inspired by the events I saw at the event, the strong men and women who were pushing their bodies. And so I underwent this fitness journey and decided I wanted to be an athlete. And so I trained and ended up pivoting into academics and eventually social media. But I had this athletic background, which I was able to use in my adult life, using this career that I had built, this ability to garner an audience and attention, and I pivoted into boxing. And who knows what type of person and what type of future you're going to be able to create with events like these. And honestly, like the ability to present this slap fighting championship with Arnold and legitimize a sport that is, I think, up and coming, that I'm personally a fan of, with the slap fighting championship is awesome. We have amazing athletes that we are shipping in and from all around the world. The heavyweight event, there's going to be 6 fights, but the heavyweight event features 2 undefeated super heavyweight champions. We got a guy named Zalish. He's 16-0. He's 6'1", 310 pounds, versus Koa, the crazy Hawaiian, who's actually on this call. I was speaking to him before we started. He got Bob Ross playing in the background on a TV. He says it keeps him calm. He's truly a crazy Hawaiian. This guy's 6'3", 370 pounds, 9-0. And so, man, me and Arnold are going to be presenting this event. It's truly an honor. It's going to be free this first time around on my YouTube channel. So my fans are going to get to watch an amazing event for free on a Sunday on my Facebook channel and Famio. Dream come true. Feels like a full circle to me, and we'll see how this manifests, but just an honor to be involved. And thank you guys all for paying attention.
Thank you, Logan. Fanmio is an innovative digital platform that is coming off the heels of a successful inauguration into live sports through the high-profile promotion and pay-per-view of Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul in June 2021. Fanmio boasts a community of millions of subscribers and a global reach through its native apps available on Apple App Stores, Google Play Stores, and the Amazon App Store. Founder and CEO of Fanmio, Solomon Engel.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for your time. It's a pleasure to be on this call for all of you. First off, I want to say it's an honor to have to be working with both the one and only Arnold Schwarzenegger and Logan Paul, both supporting the Arnold Sports Festival and the Slap Fighting Championship. I think for the Arnold Sports Festival, this is the first time that it's a pay-per-view, we're very excited to, work with them to bring this event to a greater audience around the world. We have significant reach, and we think that all the wonderful things that take place both at the Arnold Classic, the Arnold Strongman Classic, which have some of the world's strongest men, and at the festival that has an array of different types of sporting events. This is an opportunity for people from all over the world to actually tune in and get a glimpse of what it's like at this wonderful show. So we're doing everything we can to promote the event and make sure people are aware and provide it in the best type of pay-per-view package possible. Separately, the Slap Fighting Championship, working together with Logan Paul and Arnold Schwarzenegger to present this event is incredibly exciting. It's a sport that has been validated. So many people are entertained watching people slap themselves. And, we think that there's a considerable opportunity here. We're very excited to have this live stream both on FightHype.com and on Logan Paul's personal YouTube and Facebook, and really show the world, what the sport is all about. If you guys have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Engel.
Mm-hmm.
We also have 3 athletes who will be participating in this weekend's events who will be available for questions during our upcoming Q&A. First, 2019 World's Strongest Man Champion and winner of the 2021 Rogue Invitational, Martins Licis. And I'd like to ask you a quick question, Mr. Licis. Yes. How do you feel about the opportunity to participate at the Arnold Sports Festival in front of Arnold, Logan, and the millions of fans worldwide?
Well, I'll be honest. Right now, I'm struggling to sit in my chair. I'm sweating. I'm like shaking because this festival is just several days away, and I am just in full battle competition mode. As you just said, I won Worlds. I've also placed first in a couple of Arnold's competitions, but never the finals. My best placing is second. And this is one of my favorite competitions of all time. And as a kid, I always looked up to Arnold. I read his bodybuilding encyclopedia, and that's what really got me into training and lifting. So now to be at this competition, to compete with the best again, I just all steam ahead. I want to win it. This is a very special show for me. I love the crowd. I love all the events, and just being a part of it is phenomenal.
Thank you, Marty. Next up, we have the 2019 winner of the Arnold Classic and 2019 Mr. Olympia, Brandon Curry. Brandon, COVID is over. We're back. Same question for you. What are you looking forward to most this year's Arnold Sports Festival? And how do you feel about, everything going on with Arnold and Logan this year?
Hey, well, it's been a few years, and it's a pleasure just to be back and have the Arnold in full action. Being able to compete in the show again. I never knew if I was going to compete in another Arnold again, but as fate would have it, I'm here, and I'm ready to step on that stage and shine. Arnold has one of the best productions in bodybuilding, and when I look at those pictures post show, I'm always happy to see the lighting and see how the physiques are displayed. So I'm going to be really excited to see the results of this show, and hopefully this will be one of the boosts like in 2019 to help me take that Olympia title back in 2020. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Arnold, getting that interview on stage, and walking away with that nice crystal trophy.
Good luck to you, Brandon. And last but not least, the first American super heavyweight slap fighting champion, undefeated with 9 wins, Koa, the crazy Hawaiian Ernest.
Let's go. Let's go.
Koa, somebody Zoe has got to go. You're on American soil, taking the 3-time champion on. Where are you at? Tell us about it, brother.
This just trying to keep the crazy Hawaiian to where it's we're cool. We're cool. Yeah, me and the crazy Hawaiian, we're cool right now. He's watching Bob Ross in the back. No, but this event, I'm an island boy. I came from nothing. I went to food banks to get fed. I am not supposed to be here. I could cry right now. Arnold is just to be on this call is humbling, and it's so exhilarating just to be with this group of people. And I'm happy, and I'm gonna put on a show. This is a formidable opponent. I have to be level-headed about it. I cannot be out of body with it. I have to make sure that I put on a show and make sure people know that this is a sport. It can be viewed as a spectacle, but at the end of the day, there's a loser and a winner. There's a champ. And I mean, dude, it's hard to follow up with all these guys, but I'm gonna just keep watching Bob Ross. Slapping people.
Thank you very much, Cole. We know we can expect fireworks on Saturday, main event. We are going to be looking forward to it, and we're honored to have you. To handle the media questions and answers, we're going to turn things over to Andrew Roberts from Swanson Communications.
All right. Thanks very much, Chaz. A couple things before we start. For all the press, if you have a question, please hit that raise hand icon down at the bottom of your screen. And then I'm seeing a lot of questions about recording. We're going to send the recording to all the email addresses that registered to participate in this after it's over, okay? With that, we'll get started with the first question. It'll come from Donna Corby with Daily Mirror. Donna, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Hey, my question is for Logan. I wanted to ask. I was speaking over the weekend to a certain Mr. Conor McGregor, and he said that he wasn't ruling out the possibility of fighting your brother. Do you think that that's realistic, and how do you think that fight plays out?
Yeah, I do, and I think Jake wins. I think it happens.
You think it happens soon?
Yeah, maybe with I don't know, 2-3 years. I don't know. Who cares, bro? I'm more concentrated on the crazy Hawaiian slapping the shit out of Zalish, dude.
All right, thanks, Donna. Our next question will come from Jeremy Harridges with Fansided. Jeremy, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Hi, my question's for Arnold. Winning your first Mr. Olympia in 1970, a lot of people probably viewed weightlifting as a bit of an oddity. How much did you disdain that kind of stigma that people had? And is that kind of your inspiration for featuring sports that maybe people view as an oddity?
I did not disdain it at all because I figured it out when I came to America that the reason why the sport was so unknown or why there were so many misconceptions about the sport was because no one really communicated well to the mass and to the press. And you cannot assume that the press can kind of, do all this by themselves. So I feel like this is like an empty bucket. And whoever fills up that bucket, that's what is going to play out there. So I felt very strongly at that point that I have to go and start taking charge of this and start hiring a publicist and start really systematically move forward and start explaining the sport of bodybuilding to the press rather than disappearing and kind of like not talking to them because they've maybe written a bad article at one point or the other, or they misunderstood something. So we eventually hired, when in 1972, Pumping Iron, the book that came out, we then hired a publicist for that. That really got the whole thing going. Then we followed it up with the documentary of Pumping Iron. And by that time, I was traveling the world, including going to the Cannes film festivals to explain what bodybuilding is all about. And it really became very popular because we explained it the right way. Of course, you cannot please everybody. It's like in my gubernatorial race, my campaign manager said, Arnold, don't try to please everybody because remember, 20% of the people hate their mother. So, I mean, you can never just please everybody. I mean, that's the reality. But the fact of the matter was bodybuilding really took off because we communicated. And I think that's the thing with everything, that's why we are now doing this press conference right now here, this virtual press conference, because we wanted to let people know that whatever question you have or whatever misunderstanding you have about anything, we are here to explain it. You maybe are not happy after we explain it, but we can do as good a job as possible. And that's what this is all about. So I had no resentment. I just had a lot of patience. And I said to myself, okay, the time will come where I will go and be able to explain this to everyone in the whole world, how great bodybuilding is, how much it helped me to get the discipline and to learn how to visualize goals and how to use bodybuilding as a means to becoming a world champion, ego satisfaction, making money, doing something that I love, and also use as a means to fitness. But then it was important for me also to communicate, to inspire others, because I was inspired by Reg Park and by Steve Reeves and people like that in bodybuilding. And I wanted to be the one that now inspires others. So that was to me the bottom line, because I always feel very strongly about, the art is not just to create millions of followers, but to create millions of leaders and millions of champions. That was my objective, and that's exactly what I tried to accomplish.
All right. Thank you, Arnold. Our next question is going to come from Monroe Trombley with the Columbus Dispatch. Monroe, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Hey guys, thanks for putting this together. My question is for Arnold. What are some of your favorite or memorable moments from past Arnold festivals? Can you provide an anecdote or two?
Well, I think that inevitably one of my favorite, my favorite is bodybuilding competitions, and I like when the top of the champions get together and have their pose off. And one of the most memorable ones was when I just saw the last time Sergio Oliva's son up there on the stage, because I was competing against Sergio Oliva, and I was competing against him several times. We were very good friends, but when we got on stage, we were competing. It was all-out war. And I mean, he was a fierce competitor, and he was an extraordinary bodybuilding champion. And, I was so lucky to be able to compete with him. And I was beaten in 1969 by him. Then I beat him back in 1970. And so, but we always stayed really great friends. And so I was so proud to see then, Sergio's son standing up there. Sergio Jr., we call him. But I mean, he was like posing, and he posed like his dad. So to me, there was like, I was standing there in front, I was taking pictures of him, I remember, with my iPad. And it was such an unbelievable experience to just switch back to 1969 and 1970 when I was competing against him in 1972 again. And to see those poses, the lat spread, the overhead shot, and all of those things, I mean, just like his dad. It was like really wild. So that was one of those really wonderful moments to see him up there like that. But the other one, of course, is when you see the World's Strongest Man competition. And we created the Wheel of Pain. And the Wheel of Pain is kind of part of the World's Strongest Man competition, which is the Wheel of Pain from Conan the Barbarian. And so there we had this huge wheel, and they just, Rogue, kind of rebuilt that. And Rogue, by the way, is one of our sponsors. They're the sponsors of the World's Strongest Man competition, and they're great partners also. We just love them. And we work together very closely to promote the sport of bodybuilding and strength and fitness and all those kind of things. And so they rebuilt, they built a direct copy from the Conan thing. So to me, that was also a wild experience, to just stand there and to see the World's Strongest Man grinding it out and trying to get this wheel around and to show their strength and all that stuff. So those are kind of great experiences. And there's another one. I remember when Jim Lorimer said to me, he says, Arnold, come up here to the top. And there was a crane that he had that kind of lifted us up really high above the entire convention center. And we looked down, and there must have been, right in my view, tens of thousands of people packed together. And we looked at each other and says, can you believe that we have created that? Look at all of the sports. There's gymnastics, there's boxing, there's archery, there's people that are intellectually challenged, there's people that are physically challenged, there's the military that do rope climbing competitions, there's the World's Strongest Man, there's the Arnold Classic, the bodybuilders, there's all this stuff going on. And then there's in the middle, there's all those various different companies displaying their goods and their products, and everyone is having a great time. There's this great energy. When I looked at this view, I tell you, it was the most satisfying kind of a thing that you can see when you're a promoter and an organizer of an event, and you want to promote health and fitness and all the products that are being sold. from gym equipment to health food supplements and all that stuff. And all of this is going on right in front of your eyes. It was mind-blowing. So that was another one of those very, very satisfying kind of experiences.
All right. Thank you, Arnold. Our next question will come from Brad Johansson with NBC4 Columbus. Brad, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Arnold, nice to have you back. Are you able to hear?
Yes, Brad, we have you.
Arnold, March 3rd of 2020 was probably the first cancellation of anything across the board, not only in Ohio, but across the country. And I remember your disappointment and anger, understandably, at that time. Not even sure that you would bring the Arnold back to Columbus, Ohio. Can you take me back to that 2 years ago and to the journey that has now taken you to getting it back in full swing this year?
Well, you have to understand that we had a sold out kind of expo and the Sports and Fitness Festival. And it was like everyone was so excited, from the various different companies that were displaying the stuff there, to the sponsors, the city itself. I remember the mayor, the governor, everyone was so excited that we are coming there every year and that we have this very, very successful event. Only to be told literally a few days before, oh, by the way, you cannot have the big Sports and Fitness Festival. You cannot have the convention. So this was like kind of a blow to us. We were just shocked that this was a decision that was made so short before the competition, and that we were told not to do it. Now, I was the first one to say, look, to me, the health and fitness is the most important thing. You know, we don't want to have a sports and fitness festival and then people get people infected with corona. So we understood exactly what the city and the state was trying to do. It was just, I think, a little bit clumsily done, I have to say. And we were upset about that, but we knew, and so that we did exactly what the officials said is safe, which is we only had then our bodybuilding competition, male and female competition, fitness competition, but we left out all of the other sports. And we told everybody a few days before, this is over, we cannot do it. And of course, you can imagine the disappointment, the dissatisfaction, the complaints, and all of this stuff from the sponsors to the athletes, and everybody was just so disappointed. But as I always say, I'll be back. And that's exactly what we did a year later. Last year in 2021, we came back. Again, a limited version, just the actual competitions, but not the sports festival, not the convention center, and not the expo and all of those things. And now we have been told this is possible this year. And so now we are back, and now we are full on again, back again. And then we're very happy about that we are going to have the whole thing, that we can have again 18,000 athletes there. We can have over 100,000 people coming through there. And they have this 3-day event, and they have all of this different sports. So I'm really excited about being back.
All right. Thanks very much, Brad and Arnold. As a reminder to the press joining us, if you have a question, please hit the raise hand icon at the bottom of your screen. And we have a lot of people on this Zoom. So if you have any questions for Logan or the competitors or Solomon, please feel free to ask them. Our next question is going to come from Danny Segura with MMA Junkie. Danny, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Hey guys, quick question for Arnold and Logan. I know you guys are involved in this event that's coming up, but can we expect more involvement in the future, or is this a one and done with Slap Fighting Championship?
Logan, if you want to take that one first.
Yeah, sure. No, this is not a one and done thing. I think personally, I use case studies of what is working and where attention is to direct where and I put my energy. Slap fighting has proven to work in Poland and in Russia, and I think it's pretty obvious that the sport is growing. As someone who always tries to be on the cutting edge of new discoveries, I don't think this is a one-off at all. I think after we see the retention and attention that we get on Saturday, I definitely think we're going to be back for more.
And Arnold?
I just want to add to what Logan just said. We always have sports come to us to the Sports and Fitness Festival, and we have them organize the event, and we then watch what the reaction of the audience is. And so sometimes sports come and go, the different sports, and then sometimes they stay. As a matter of fact, most of the time they stay because they're very, very entertaining and they're really great to promote health and fitness. And also it brings a lot of people out there to the convention and to watch that. And so I think that, I don't know much about the slap competition at all. I've watched a documentary that Logan did, and I watched another kind of documentary that was on it. I found it very, very interesting, how guys can stand there and face each other in a very kind of a short distance from each other and then slap each other and, make this a competition. I said to myself, it sounds odd to me, but it looked really interesting to me. And that's why we got together, Logan and I got together, and they said, let's do this together. I love what you guys do. And then to have FanMe pay-per-view come in also and be our partners there. And then we do this together and to show the whole Sports and Fitness Festival, the competitions, and also have people from around the world watch that. That is really great. So I'm really looking forward to this slap competition. Like I said, I've never seen one myself before. I've never live been there. I'm very excited to watch it with Logan, and we're going to stand there and we're going to have a great time. And we will be, and I think it's going to be very entertaining because it's a really, everyone says, how can you do that? This is such a tough thing to do. It's like the UFC fight. It's like, who wants to go into, kind of like an octagon and get kicked and punched and all of that stuff? All what the Logan and his brother did, and that's like to go into boxing. I mean, it's just, to me, it's like really admirable to have the guts to do all of those things. So I think that we have gotten so far a huge reaction about how excited people are that we have the slap competition. And so I'm looking forward to this.
And just a couple quick ones. Logan, I know that you're sort of helping getting this out to the masses through your Facebook and YouTube channel. But beyond that, do you plan on having a deeper involvement with the promotion, or what's the plan moving forward?
Yeah, I'd love to. Again, I think this is a nice little case study. We'll see how it looks as a business venture. But TBD is the answer. To be determined. We'll find out.
Okay. And just last one. You and your brother have been involved a lot in combat sports. You see boxing. You guys have sort of talked a lot about MMA, and we've sort of seen a merger between the MMA world and the boxing world. And even now with bare knuckle boxing, that's picking up as well. Do you see a scenario where Slap Fighting Championship can also present an avenue for MMA fighters to pick up some big paychecks?
I absolutely do, with a lot less work, to be honest. I mean, guys can go to the gym and train 5 hours a day, learning 12 different disciplines in mixed martial arts. But the slap someone, everyone knows how to do that. Everyone's been slapping their brother, sister, sibling, cousin since they were 3 years old. Anyone can do that. I think it's an easy way for MMA fighters, influencers, celebrities, anyone who has this online beef to go settle it instantly without having to train for 3 to 4 months. You just go slap the person that you have the beef with or the dispute with, and there's an audience because something about it is highly entertaining. Arnold said it. You're standing 3 feet across from each other, such a short distance, seeing who can hit harder and take the most hits. And I don't know. It might be crazy, but I just think there's something here. I do.
All right. Thanks, Logan and Danny, for the questions. Our next question will come from Michael Gwilliam with Exerto. Michael, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Hi, guys. This is a question for Logan and Arnold. Arnold, you said you're a big fan of Logan and Jake Paul. Is there any chance you'd ever consider starring in a movie alongside either or both of them? And Logan, is that something you'd be down to do?
We have not talked about that at all. But as I mentioned, I'm a big fan of theirs because they work so hard. There's a lot of people out there on social media. They're all about dialogue and connections and this and that. Who goes to the right party and all that stuff. I'm not a big admirer of that, but I'm a big admirer of someone who's really strong on social media and they can back it up. And those guys can really back it up. And I tell you, I've watched each one of their fights and they inspired me. I admire them, how they have the courage to go in there and to do those kind of things. And at the same time, they're businessmen. They study things in a multidimensional way. When I met Logan out here, we talked at great length about business and promotion and communication. And it was funny because we had so much fun talking about communication, because it is so important, that everything you do as art as it sounds, and their careers inevitably is an art career. It's not something that they don't copy anybody. They're unique and special and admirable. And so then how do you communicate that to the world? What you're trying to do? What is your goal? What you're trying to accomplish and all that stuff. And so I think we all are kind of like have something in common there. Also many things in common. And I think that's why it was, it's great to hear Logan talk about how he went to the Arnold Classic and how he was inspired there and all that stuff. And, it was such a great partnership, because I said to him, well, I have watched you fight and I was inspired by that. So, so we kind of admire each other. And so it's natural for us to want to do business together and to promote something together. And just like Logan said, we're going to watch this year, how this is going to work out, how we're going to work out as partners in this, how is the sport going to be perceived and all of this stuff. And then we're going to go on and say, okay, let's continue on. This was really great. Let's take this all over the world. Or we say, this failed, so let's just stop it right here. And where that takes us when it comes to working together, if it's movies, business, we don't know where this is going to go, right? But I'm really looking forward to this event and to see them there at the competition with Logan on this.
All right, thank you, Arnold. Our last question is going to come from Jim Conlon with RCB Radio. Jim, please unmute yourself. You can ask your question.
Hi, my question is for Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold, just in relation to all the donations for the Arnold Classic, they go to firefighting and firefighting organizations all across the USA. And you run a firefighter strongest man competition. Can you tell us a bit about that? Is these normal firefighters that work in places all across America?
Well, I have been a big fan of firefighters for a long time. And then I became even a bigger fan when I actually played a firefighter in one of my movies. And I worked with firefighters, got the training from firefighters, and realized of how tough of a profession that is. But then when I became governor, then it elevated my excitement and my admiration for firefighters, because we in California have a lot of fires. And I remember there was a really hot season. And when I went to bed, we had 528 fires. And I couldn't sleep all night almost, because I was like always thinking about, oh my God, all those fires. And I woke up and it was 2012 fires. So, I was traveling the next day all over the state and trying to figure out how to put the resources at the right place, and on and on and on. But so I got to really know the firefighters, how much they struggle, how tough they are, how much they risk their lives to save others and all of this stuff. So I remember that we had this competition, the World's Strongest Man competition on the Santa Monica Pier. And I said, look, we have all these fires. And we have this suffering amongst the firefighters, and they're so tough and they're doing such a great job and they're so brave. Let's do something for them. Maybe they're interested in having the world's strongest firefighter competition. So we created that basically. right there in the Santa Monica Pier, and we then got in touch with all the fire departments. They send your strongest guys, so that you think that they're the strongest guys, and they should compete. And then we let them decide what the requirements and the criteria should be, and what are the kind of lifts they have to do, what kind of the disciplines they have to go through. So they created then that. And then we had this competition, and it was so popular because those guys just came back from fighting the most incredible fires in California, in Southern California, and all of a sudden they were in the Santa Monica Pier, and they were kind of battling it out. And I'm not talking just about men, because remember, firefighters, just like in law enforcement, they have great women also there, tough women. And there were women competing also there, and they got even bigger applause than the guys. So it was very fantastic. So I said, well, let's continue with that. And that's exactly what we are doing now. We want to go and to take this all over the world and have firefighters get their attention of how tough they are, what they can lift and what they can do. And I tell you, the stuff that I've seen them do, there's no one out there that can do that, because it had so much to do with endurance also. And with, how long can you be strong, and how long can you carry something so heavy? And or it's not just one lift quickly, but it is really an endurance thing also. So I got to admire them. And, we sold a bunch of merchandise also that we gave to donation then to the firefighters and all of that stuff. So I'd like to support them, and I'd like to bring them in on the whole thing. I think it's going to be very exciting.
All right. Thank you, Arnold. And apologies, that last question from Michael Gwilliam with Tuxedo, I think I cut off your answer there, Logan. Michael, do you want to re-ask your question there of Logan, the same question you'd asked of Arnold?
Yeah, sir. So, Logan, it's basically the same thing, right? If you were given the opportunity to star alongside Schwarzenegger in a movie, would that something you would be down to do?
I mean, yeah, obviously, right? Like, what? Of course.
I do have a bit of a small follow-up, if you don't mind. It's if you could slap anybody in the face, whether it's like a YouTuber or an actor, or that's you or Logan, like who would it be?
Floyd Mayweather, dude.
All right. Thank you for that, Michael, and thank you, Logan. That's our last question from media. I'll turn it back over to Jazz to wrap things up. Jazz, you there?
I'm here. Is my video?
There we go.
Gotcha. Before we go today, we would like to open the floor up for final comments about the Arnold Sports Festival. Let's start with Martins.
Well, all right. So we're going to be going into the area that I represent is strongman. So we got the max squat coming up, and I expect that we're going to be getting up well over 900 pounds. We got some epic competitors going in for the heaviest squat. We're going to be doing a 275-pound dumbbell for clean and press for maximum repetitions. So that just with one arm, pressing a 275-pound dumbbell. Then we're going to be doing a max log the next day. So maximum weight log press overhead, and we're going to be getting well over 400 pounds. And then an 880-pound frame carry, which we're going to hold with our hands, run up a ramp. And then finally, a stone to shoulder, which is over 400 pounds. And Arnold, I'm sorry for that one year where the stone went rolling off the stage and almost hit you. I think about that a lot. So I intend to not throw the stone off the stage this time.
Thank you, Martins. We'll move to Brandon Curry for final comments.
Hey, I mentioned that trophy, and I realized that I got, 3 Arnold trophies now, and 2 of them are crystal, the Brazil trophy and the Australia trophy. But the one for the Arnold Classic is actually Arnold posing. So that's the trophy I'm looking to win. I'm also, one of the big motivators for doing the Arnold this year is creating the legacy, of course, of being the first guy to win the Arnold and the Olympia twice. So I want to do that as well. I'm looking forward to all the fans coming out, all the love, being able to perform and have a good time, and just making it like old times again at the Arnold Classic, man. I've been going to the Arnold Classic since 2007, before I even thought about really being a professional bodybuilder. So every year it's grown on me, and just to seeing it get bigger and bigger and just being able to win it has been just an awesome opportunity. and just this nostalgia of coming back and just appreciating it again, having it one more year. I'm just really looking forward to it. And I thank everybody, of course, for putting on this event and allowing us to make it like Christmas time again here in Columbus, Ohio.
Thank you very much, Brandon.
I have a
Good
quick
luck to
question
you.
just for Brandon Curry. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, Brandon, is the reason why you have short hair because it's impossible to comb your hair with those huge biceps that you have there? Or what's the reason for that?
Well, yeah, it does make it, since I do cut my own hair, it does make it a little bit hard when there's biceps.
Let's see a double bicep pose, Brandon.
Oh,
let's see a double bicep pose right there where you are. Oh, fantastic. Unbelievable. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have that problem too. We'll move on to final comments from our heavyweight slap fighting undefeated main event, the Crazy Hawaiian. Go up.
Blink. Don't blink. Somebody's gonna get put to bed, and it's gonna be a fun ride. Arnold, can I get I'll be back?
Yes. I'll be back.
Yes, go. Dreams come true. I could die tomorrow. But don't blink, guys. It's gonna be a fun weekend, man. Fun.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, we'll move. Final comments, Mr. Solomon Engel.
So we're very excited for both of these amazing events. Make sure to tune in for the Arnold Sports Festival pay-per-view. It's only $24.99, and it has all the coverage you can imagine for this wonderful event. Slap Fighting Championship, it's going to be streamed live on March 5th via Logan Paul's personal YouTube. Make sure to check it out. It will also be on his personal Facebook Live and on Cameo.com. You don't want to miss it.
All right. And finally, final comments from the man himself, Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, I'm really excited for this coming weekend. I can't wait to get there on Friday night and to be there for these 3 days. I cannot wait to see again the most muscular man in the world, to see the fittest guys in the world, to see the most extraordinary women, to see the strongest guys in the world, to battle it out, to see the biggest and the best slap fighters. I mean, there will be so much action. And then, there will be axe throwing. There will be, like I said, medieval battles with the swords, just slamming against each other. I mean, it's just wild. No matter where you look at this convention center, there will be action, and on every level. And so, I mean, I cannot wait to go there and to see again all of the people, my fans there. So let's celebrate bodybuilding, slap fest, axe throwing, fitness, and shape, and all of those kind of things on one weekend. Let's all celebrate together. Hasta la vista, baby.
Thank you, Arnold. And I'm all caught up. I forgot Logan. We need final comments from Logan Paul.
I mean, what do you want from me? This is gonna be incredible. Everyone already said it. Tune in March 5th, my YouTube channel. Everyone, thank you for your time. This has been fantastic. Time to put on a show and make history again with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Let's keep it going, y'all. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. We'd like to thank you to our speakers, Mr. Schwarzenegger, Mr. Paul, Mr. Angle, and our athletes, as well as the media members who participated. We will see you this week, the Arnold Sports Festival, live from Columbus, Ohio. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Yo, Logan.
What's up, recording stopped.
Logan, I need help, man. I need help with social media, man. I got a dedicated 12,000 followers, man. Just tag me in something. That's all.
Let's
put on the show. I'll put on the show.
Let's talk Friday or Saturday. I got you.
All right, Logan.
I'll give you the one-liners, bro.
Hell yeah.
Hey, thanks, everybody. We're going to close the Zoom.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bob Ross in my life, so thank